and thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we're going to be interviewing the 27th administrator of the SBA, serving under President Biden, Isabel Guzman. Hi, Isabel. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here, Mada. It's a pleasure to be here with Latinas in Tech.
Well, today we want to start really by getting to know you a little bit better. So can you tell us about you for the ones that don't already know who you are and what you're doing?
Of course. So it's my honor to serve in the most diverse cabinet in history. President Biden and Vice President Harris select a group of individuals who look like Americans. So it's my honor to serve as the SBA administrator, as you said, the Small Business Administration. And I lead as the voice of the 32.5 million small businesses in the country, and as well as those innovative startups. Of course, the SBA is the agency at the federal level that's focused on helping to deliver the American dream of business ownership to more individuals across the country. And that's my background as well. I'm the daughter of a small business owner. My father's a veterinarian and had a chain of veterinary hospitals in Southern California. And I've been a founder myself and have worked with all types of founders in various industries. My companies were in light manufacturing to consulting, and I've worked with founders across the spectrum of industries and really understand how they wear so many hats to achieve their goal of starting and growing, scaling a business to achieve their dream of whatever product or service they're trying to deliver to the world. So it's in my genes, I think, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. So it's a great honor to serve at the federal level, really just trying to make sure that we have the policy and programs available to entrepreneurs out there to help them achieve that dream.
Yes, that sounds incredible as to be able to relate to the work you're doing. So with that in mind, what are some of the ways that you think leading with purpose is shaping your work at the SBA?
I think that the whole administration, it's just such a unique time to serve. As President Biden and Vice President Harris have really tried to lead with equity. They want all of America to really benefit from the greatness that we've been able to achieve, especially in this past year. Since the president's been in office, we've seen record economic recovery, historic job growth, 7.9 million jobs created since he started in office, and there's a lot of opportunities on the horizon, which is probably why we're seeing as well so many startups. There's business applications, a key indicator of startups. There are the record high 30% above pre-pandemic levels. And so, whether it's necessity or opportunity, we're seeing businesses, people jump in to pursue that dream. And I think, now it's especially a time to really think and reflect on the fact that not all our institutions are established in a way that can help support all of our entrepreneurs. And so I'm really leading with the purpose of trying to be more inclusive, to make sure that great ideas from anywhere and everywhere, as the president says, are able to really develop into strong, resilient businesses. And especially because women and people of color, and especially Latinas, are starting businesses at such high rates. Latinas are 6x in terms of the startup rate of any other group, and I think that really speaks to the fact that they see opportunity on the horizon or a necessity to go out on their own and start their firm. And so we want to make sure that we have inclusive systems out there, and that's just been my passion my whole life, is making sure that I can help serve and advance all of our communities. I've seen growing up how entrepreneurship is a pathway to building wealth for families, for communities. The impact is so huge. Small businesses create 2/3 of net new jobs. They employ half the workforce, and they produce almost a half, 40% of our output in the country. And more, they define our neighborhoods. They're the ones who innovate to create and address the key problems in our world globally. So I leading with purpose, it's like so many strong issues that are affecting our country right now. And now it's the time to really dig in, understand what the barriers are that limit that American dream to more. We want everyone to be able to achieve the promise of America. And so I think, every day, I lead with that focus, and I'm unrelenting and really driven in that purpose.
Thank you. And so with this challenge already in place, in addition to it, we had COVID in the past 2 years, and many companies and many small companies had to move to remote work. How do you think this will impact the way companies operate in general, and how do you see this play in the long run?
For me, the digitization has been a silver lining, especially for small businesses who were slower to adopt technology historically. But we've seen them adopt technology at really high rates, and all the research recently that's been out shows that, the majority of them feel that technology, those digital tools, helped save their businesses. They were able to stay afloat because of the revenues they were able to generate by pivoting to technology, being able to have their workforce be productive even during this time through remote work. And so, I think that those new skill sets that small businesses have adopted will be game changing. In quarter one of last year, we saw e-commerce adoption rates increase so dramatically, and in fact, we caught up 10 years in the rates of e-commerce in America, which is really important for our country when we're trying to compete globally. And so, in fact, I launched a small business digital alliance with many corporate partners, along with Business Forward. And so we have Amazon, Google, LinkedIn, Meta, Microsoft, PayPal, as well as Principal and Comcast, companies who are interested in trying to help small businesses adopt technology to succeed and pivot and adapt to this new marketplace, really, that they have to survive in. And we're continuing to expand those partnerships to bring more great tools and knowledge to our small business owners. So that's definitely a silver lining, because I think across the board, I've met small businesses who have been able to expand locations, enter new markets as a result of knowing how to remotely monitor and engage with workforce in different parts of the country. And so market expansion opportunities, those revenue growth opportunities, being able to access e-commerce gives you access to markets around the world. And increasingly, I'm meeting these accidental exporters who put up their e-commerce site and suddenly find that folks are highly interested. I met a great granola company yesterday who says Japanese consumers love her granola, and she's been able to sell quite a bit abroad. So I think all those things are going to make a dramatic difference in how we can compete. And that's really the president's focus, is making sure that we can build from the bottom up and the middle out, which of course is entrepreneurship. We want to make sure that all Americans can benefit from the promise of America, but also that we can increase competition and have small businesses thriving. And technology, I think, is a great pathway forward.
Yes, for sure. It seems to make things reach everyone at the right time. And so, what resources is the SBA providing now for small businesses that are still struggling, to continue operations even throughout all of these this past few years?
Well, the SBA has scaled dramatically during this time. We're typically output about $40 billion a year. Our core offerings are capital. We fund businesses. We provide both loans and investments, as well as investment, multiple, either venture or private equity investments, as well as non-dilutive research and development grants that are distributed from across the federal government. We direct that. So beyond that funding, we also try to help with revenue growth opportunities, in particular, selling to the largest buyer in the world, the federal government, and trying to figure out how businesses can expand in local marketplaces to abroad. And of course, I'm leaning into e-commerce based on what I just said. You can can imagine why. And then the last is just trying to provide the networks, those advisors in the field that can provide knowledge and information and technical assistance and help our businesses navigate federal government. So we have a network of over 1,300 centers across the country, small business development centers, women's business centers, veterans business outreach centers, SCORE mentors who are professionals that are giving free counseling and advice. All of these services are free. And leveling up on that, we have navigators, community navigators. They're similar to Prometoras and ACA, where they're local trusted partners who are trying to help people connect to resources for entrepreneurship. And so those are the core offerings of SBA. And what we've tried to focus on is making sure that we are transformative in this time, because SBA previously, as I was starting to say, puts out about $40 billion a year in loans loans and investments, and the innovation research grants are about $4 billion a year. But now during COVID, we are an agency that has put out $1.2 trillion in relief to small businesses through the Paycheck Protection Program, the COVID Economic Injury Disaster Loan, EIDL, as well as some hard-hit industry grants to venues and restaurants and other businesses that had huge economic injury. So it's been a dramatic shift. And what we've learned from that scaling is that we need to provide simple products that are easy to understand, that meet our businesses where they are, as well as be technology forward, really using technology to create that simplicity, but achieve our scale with controls. So being able to be certain that the businesses we're serving are those that the law was intended to serve, and then finally being equitable across the board. So we are applying those learnings to make sure that we truly are the lender of last resort, the federal government that's coming in to fill those gaps, those capital gaps and those opportunity gaps in the marketplace for more Americans. That's what the SBA is all about, is making sure that we can now meet this larger scale, meet more of these businesses who have come to us to be saved and get relief during COVID, but help position them for growth into the future with all of our products and services.
That's great. So if you had to give an advice for businesses in tech as they continue to manage the pandemic challenges and recover and pivot to new opportunities, what would that be?
Yeah, it's been remarkable, truly, what businesses have been able to do during this time. Especially our innovators, the science and technology-based firms. A lot of that job growth that I referenced, small businesses create 2/3 of net new jobs. A lot of it is with those scalable firms, and oftentimes those science or technology-based firms have a 5x multiplier in terms of job creation locally. And so, we really want to encourage our future innovators to succeed, and the SBA in particular has programs to support our businesses. Right now, obviously with the president's vision, we're investing in America, really trying to build up our global competitiveness by focusing on critical industries and building supply chains and infrastructure here in America, so that more of our businesses can be positioned for success globally. And so I think with those investments that we're going to see across climate, critical manufacturing and supply chain, there's lots of opportunities for growth, lots of opportunities as well to layer those industries with the technology that they need to be very effective. Coming from California, where agriculture was so key, I recall in the Central Valley, so many of my ag folks talked about the technology that they imported and wanting to build instead ag tech locally. And so I think that's, all of those fields, you name it, whatever industry, I think there's lots of opportunities on the horizon as we try to rebuild in America, whether that's rebuilding strong roads and ports and transportation infrastructure, or pipes for clean water, or broadband to strengthen our economy and our healthcare deliverance and everything. So I think there's a lot of great opportunities, and so really recognizing what that is and being agile and adaptive to be able to go after those opportunities is where entrepreneurs can really do well. And I feel that every entrepreneur should really reach out and seek resources, through the SBA and across the federal government. We have some incredible programs that the SBA directs, including Small Business Innovation Research Grants, which basically directs the R&D spend of the federal government to entrepreneurs seeking to transform different industries. So know that you're not alone and that you need to definitely rely on us. We want to be part of the team, and we have technology, small business development centers. We have great grants, these non-dilutive grants for innovation, and we have accelerators around the country that we fund to try to focus on equity. So for Latinas, and make sure that these resources and are able to succeed with them.
Well, thank you for that great advice. And we are at the end of our session today. So I wanted to thank you, Administrator Isabel Guzman, for taking the time today to be with us and letting us know all the great work that the SBA is doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you all. And I look forward to future successes across the Latino community and entrepreneurship. And I know that many of you will be leading.
Thank you.